The Buffalo Bills have hit a point where frustration doesn't even begin to describe what's going on. It's bigger than one bad game. It's bigger than a rough stretch. What we're watching now is a team that looks completely lost on both sides of the ball. And when your quarterback doesn't even seem to trust the guys he's throwing to, well, you're already underwater before the ball is snapped. Let's start with Josh Allen, because this is a quarterback who's supposed to be elite. A guy who's proven before that he can carry this franchise on his back. But lately, it feels like he's playing street ball out there, panicking, pressing, overthinking every throw. Nothing looks natural. He's aiming the ball instead of throwing it with confidence. He's unsure, and how could he not be? When your wide receivers can't create separation, when routes don't develop cleanly, and when defenses are sending the house because they know you've got no reliable escape valve, this is what happens. You saw on the field. The Falcons blitzed Josh Allen on more than half of his dropbacks, over 50%. They knew the Bills receivers weren't going to burn them, so they pinned their ears back and came after the quarterback. And when you're under constant pressure like that, bad decisions are going to happen. It's not rocket science. And sure, people want to nitpick Josh for missing a read here or forcing a throw there. But take a step back and ask yourself, who's really helping this guy out? It felt like the only wideout who even showed up was Josh Palmer. And of course, as soon as he made a couple plays, he got hurt. Keon Coleman? Non-existent. Elijah Moore? Nowhere to be found. No Dalton Kincaid, no Curtis Samuel. So yeah, the offense was banged up. But look around the league. The 49ers have dealt with injuries too, and they still managed to scheme up touches for Christian McCaffrey like it's child's play. The Falcons did it in this game. They found ways to get Bijan Robinson and Drake London involved all over the field. Out wide, in motion, in the backfield, whatever it took. That's coaching. That's play design. That's trust in your stars. What are the Bills doing a critical third and short near midfield? A jet sweep to Elijah Moore that lost yardage. Cute for the sake of being cute. Joe Brady said earlier in the week that if the play works, it's a good play. But come on, even if that had worked, it's still the wrong call in that spot. It's 3rd and 2. You've got a chance to push the drive into Falcons territory, and instead you run sideways into nothing. It's not just bad football. It's gutless. And then there's James Cook, arguably your most dynamic offensive weapon, and he's coming off the field on 3rd downs. Why? Nobody knows. Because when he's on the field, good things happen. But for some reason, the offensive philosophy has completely abandoned the idea of feeding your playmakers. There's no rhythm, no identity. You can see it in Josh's body language. He's frustrated, and honestly, who wouldn't be? Last year, this team had an identity. They leaned on the run game, used play action, and made life easier for Josh. This year, there's nothing. It's all disjointed. And while Josh isn't blameless, he's made his share of mistakes. You can't look at this offense and say it's putting him in position to succeed. He's out there trying to make magic out of nothing. Half the time, he's dodging defenders before he even finishes his drop. And when he does get time, his receivers aren't winning their matchups. It's not sustainable. And it's not fair. Because for all his flaws, Josh Allen is still one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in the league. But right now, the team around him is making him look average. That's on Joe Brady. That's on Brandon Beane. And yeah, that's on Sean McDermott too. The roster construction on the offensive side of the ball just isn't cutting it. And it gets worse when you look at the other side. Because if the offense was a mess, the defense was downright humiliating, especially in the first half. The Falcons racked up over 300 yards before halftime. It looked like a 7-on-7 drill. No pass rush, no gap discipline, no answers. And it wasn't just that they gave up yards. It's how easily Atlanta moved the ball. Whether it was through the air or on the ground, the Bills had no resistance. Just gaping holes in the run game, missed tackles, blown assignments. It was a disaster. They couldn't play man. They couldn't play zone. They were outmatched physically and mentally. At one point, it felt like every other play was a chunk gain for the Falcons. Drake London absolutely feasted. Poor Taron Johnson was stuck covering a guy with almost half a foot on him, and the Falcons didn't even try to hide their game plan. They just kept going back to him. Because it worked. That's what teams with a real number one receiver can do. They dictate matchups. And listen, Sean McDermott's supposed to be a defensive guy. This is his side of the ball. But the truth is they don't have the guys. Injuries have gutted this unit, yes. But that doesn't explain everything. Bad angles, lack of awareness, mental errors. That's coaching. You've got veterans like Jordan Phillips missing 3 tackles on a single play. You've got linebackers out of position. Safeties taking bad angles and blowing coverage. It's not just talent. It's discipline. And let's be honest, we can't keep saying next man up and pretending that it magically works. At some point, you run out next man. And the ones stepping in just aren't good enough. The team is feeling it. The coaches are feeling it. The fan base is fed up. You could sense the desperation even before kickoff. Daquan Jones goes down in warm-ups with what sounds like an Achilles injury. More guys limping off. The medical tent looked like a subway car at rush hour. It's chaos. And through it all, you still had 2 chances in the second half to tie the game. And what do? A lifeless 3-and-out. A punt after a blocked field goal gave you golden field position. That's where execution, coaching, and identity are supposed to shine. Instead, it was more of the same, sloppy, uninspired, and flat-out ugly football. So now what? The bye week is here, and you can feel the pressure bubbling. There are calls for McDermott to take back play calling on defense. There are whispers about whether Joe Brady is the right guy to run the offense. There are serious concerns about the depth of this roster. This isn't a tweak-and-move-on situation. This is a deep-rooted identity crisis, and the players know it. Josh knows it, and Bills fans can feel it in their bones. As bad as the offense has been, the defense might be in even worse shape, and that's saying something. Because the defensive side of the ball used to be Sean McDermott's bread and butter. That's where he made his name. But right now, this defense looks soft, disorganized, beaten at the line of scrimmage, confused on the back end, and without any sort of edge or intensity. If the offense is lost, the defense is flat out broken. Start with the basics. In the first half alone, the Falcons racked up more than 330 yards. That's not a bad quarter. That's historically bad. It looked like Atlanta was running a scrimmage, just walking through their playbook against air. No one around the ball. Missed tackles everywhere. Gap assignments thrown out the window. Bijan Robinson made the Bills' defense look like a bunch of guys who'd never played together. And he's a great player, but not that great. He's not supposed to single-handedly destroy an NFL defense like that. And what made it worse is that even when the Bills did have a chance to make a play, they didn't. You want to talk about effort and execution? There were plays where defenders had a clean shot, got there in time, and still didn't bring the guy down. Jordan Phillips on that screen play in the fourth quarter, he missed the tackle not once, not twice, but 3 times. That kind of stuff is demoralizing. It breaks the spirit of a team. When your big guys up front can't wrap up and your second-level defenders are taking bad angles, everything collapses. There's also a discipline issue, and not just in how they're playing the game, but in their decision-making. Early in the game, Greg Rousseau jumps off sides and wipes out a huge momentum swing. A forced fumble on the very first play. The Bills had a chance to set the tone, and it evaporated because one guy couldn't watch the snap count. That's football 101. And it's happening to veterans who should know better. And yes, the injuries are piling up. No one's ignoring that. This defense is missing key starters across the board. Micah Hyde's not playing. Trey Davis-White's been out. Matt Milano's done. And Daquan Jones went down before the game even started. But you can't lean on that as an excuse forever. Eventually, somebody has to step up. Somebody has to make a play. And right now, the only guy who even looked like he belonged on an NFL field was Deion Walker. For tackles for loss, flying around, blowing up plays, at least he looked like he gave a damn. That's more than you can say for a lot of others. The secondary is getting roasted. They can't play man, and they're not fast enough to sit back in zone. Drake London did whatever he wanted. The Falcons move him around, outside, inside, in motion, and the Bills had no answer. And it wasn't about exotic play design. It was basic stuff. Just get the ball to your best players and let them work. That's what Atlanta did. That's what Buffalo used to do. Now, they're too busy overcomplicating everything. Christian Benford and Cole Bishop got picked on all game. Taylor Rapp had a brutal first half. Missed tackles, bad angles, slow reactions, you name it. And in a game where communication and positioning are everything. These guys look like they just met yesterday. And when McDermott talks about positioning in his post-game pressers, that's not coach speak. That's football reality. If you're not in the right place, or you're a second late, you're toast in this league. And right now, the Bills are getting toasted repeatedly. Now, the conversation shifts to McDermott himself. He's the head coach. He's also the one responsible for this defensive unit. So, does he take back play-calling duties after the bye? That might be the only card he has left to play. Because Bobby Babich, for all the heat he's taking, doesn't have much to work with. But something has to change. You can't keep putting this defense on the field and expecting different results. It's been weeks of the same problems. Poor tackling, no pressure, blown coverages. Even the vets, the guys who are supposed to hold it down, have been inconsistent. Ed Oliver's been invisible. Von Miller looks like a shell of himself. And when your pass rush isn't getting home, your secondary gets exposed. That's been happening over and over again. It's a chain reaction. Bad up front, worse on the back end. And while we're at it, let's not pretend Brandon Beane gets a free pass here. This roster? It's not good enough. Plain and simple. They went out and spent big on Joey Bosa. How's that working out? He's barely registering on the stat sheet. The depth pieces they brought and haven't produced. And the draft picks, outside of Walker, aren't contributing. This is a top-heavy roster, and when injuries hit, there's no second wave. There's no cushion. It's just a bunch of guys trying to survive. Josh Allen deserves better. That's the sad truth. He's not perfect, but he's being asked to play hero ball every single week just to keep the team afloat. And you look across the AFC, and teams like Kansas City are out there with multiple guys who can stretch the field, open up space, and make life easier for their quarterback. The Bills? They've got nothing consistent at wideout. No explosive plays. No one that scares a defense. And that's why it feels like this isn't just a bad stretch. This is a fundamental flaw in how the roster was built. The offense has no juice. The defense has no bite. And when you put that together, it looks like what we just watched. A team getting bullied in all three phases of the game. They had moments, a blocked field goal, a few flashes from young players, but overall, this is a team that got punched in the mouth and never responded. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to you straight. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In a shocking twist that has sent tremors through the NFL world, the league has reportedly announced the cancellation of the highly anticipated matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Buffalo Bills. Sources close to the situation suggest that this decision comes amid swirling controversy and mounting speculation over alleged irregularities that have now been backed by newly surfaced images, which insiders claim prove a massive cheating scandal. Fans and analysts alike are in disbelief. The Falcons-Bills clash, which have been circled on calendars as one of the season's most electrifying showdowns, now hangs in uncertainty. While the NFL has yet to release a detailed official statement, whispers from inside the league hint that the decision was made after an internal review found suspicious activities during recent games that directly involved both teams. The leaked images, shared on social media and rapidly going viral, allegedly show officials and players in situations that defy standard protocol, reigniting debates about fairness and transparency in professional football. The sports community is buzzing with theories. Some suggest this could be part of a broader crackdown by the league to maintain integrity, while others speculate that internal politics and rivalries may be influencing decisions behind the scenes. Prominent sports journalists are already weighing in, calling the cancellation unprecedented and urging the NFL to clarify its stance before the controversy spirals further. Betting markets have reacted immediately, with odds on various outcomes now in disarray, and fan forums are ablaze with heated discussions ranging from outrage to conspiracy theories. While no official timeline for rescheduling the game has been provided, the implications are already being felt. Social media platforms are flooded with memes, hot takes, and amateur investigations as diehard fans attempt to decode the images and discern the truth. Some former players have chimed in, expressing shock and disbelief, questioning how something of this magnitude could have gone unnoticed until now. The NFL, known for managing high-profile crises, faces perhaps one of its most delicate challenges yet, balancing transparency with damage control, all while keeping the attention of a global audience that demands answers. Whether this cancellation marks the beginning of a larger investigation or remains an isolated incident, one thing is clear. The NFL landscape will not look the same in the coming weeks. As rumors continue to swirl and new evidence emerges, fans, analysts, and insiders are bracing for revelations that could shake the very foundation of professional football. The Falcons and Bills were supposed to face off in a game destined to thrill, but now they are at the center of a storm that may prove even more dramatic than any play on the field. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.